Hello everyone. Today I would like to talk about closures in Swift. To explain closures, let me first write a simple function. Say hello. It has a body, it prints hello. If I have to call this function, I can write it this way. I can call it this way. And it prints hello. That's fine. Now let me try to assign this function to a variable. For that, I can write this assigning this function to a variable. I'm not calling it here, I'm assigning it here. Now let's see what happens when I call. Now I can call this variable as a regular function and it works fine because say hello to is a closure and you can assign a function to a closure. Okay, and the type of this say hello to closure is being automatically defined by Swift and it knows it because I'm assigning it here. What Swift is not showing you is under hood the way the closure is being defined is like this. Since this function doesn't have a parameter, we write empty bracket here and it also doesn't return anything, so I write void, and that's how it is being written under hood like this. So actually the line number 11 is represented, can be represented like this. Okay, just by assigning this function, it knows that this is a closure of type this. Like right here also for this function it doesn't have a return type. Now if you look closely, this type of this closure and this type of this function is same. Okay, that's why you were able to assign it. But if you don't specify the type and simply assign it, the compiler knows it by itself. Now what if uh, we want to create closure that has parameter and return type as well? Okay, so let me write a function addition at first that has two parameter. What's happening? num2 and then return type integer. It returns num1 num2. If I call this function, I can simply say addition. Num1 is 32 and num2 is 43, something like this. If I call it, look at the result, it works fine. Now let me write a function for this. So let me write a closure for this function. So let's call it summation. Now I have to specify the type. I will specify the type myself, integer. So it has two value parameters being passed. So the difference between defining a function and a closure is that for closure you don't have to write the label when you write the so this is just the type. So whenever you are writing type, you don't have to write the labels and it returns an integer. Now inside the body, now you define, since we are passing two parameters, you have to label the parameters. We don't have to, but right now I'm showing you the easier way to write a closure. num2. So these are the two parameters being passed. After that I have to write the in keyword, because after the in keyword the body of the function is being represented. Now what I can do is simply return num1 plus num2, or I could also do let sum equals to num1 plus num2, because this is the body. I can do something like this and return the sum from here. The other thing that you can do, so let me write the other way, integer integer integer, and then I can just say num1 and num2 and in num1 plus num2. So simply return them. So you could also write this in this way, because there is a single line of the body, you can omit a return. keyword. Now there is a shorthand syntax also. So for shorthand syntax, you can write let summation 3 integer integer and returns an integer. You can just write, since there are two parameters being passed, you are provided with this $0 dollar sign by the Swift to represent the parameter. So $0 represents the first parameter and $1 will represent the second parameter. Now you can call all these closures just like regular functions, but you don't even have to provide the uh, label. Sorry, yeah, label. You don't have to provide the label. Like for this function, you are providing the label num1 and num2, but you don't have to provide the label for this closure, these three closures. So that's all you have to know about closure in Swift. Thank you so much for listening.